Take you to Canada now, and the town which recorded the country's highest ever temperature this week has now been engulfed by a wildfire.
Canada was experiencing summer weather like it had never seen before. The warmth stretched across the land, yet beneath the surface, something far stranger was unfolding. Scientists, explorers, and researchers had stumbled on discoveries that seemed to defy what was once believed about this northern nation. In the last year, mysteries long buried under ice, soil, and sea had begun to rise, and what emerged shocked even the most experienced experts. Canada, often pictured as a quiet land of snow, forests, and lakes, was revealing a hidden world, one filled with lost villages, vanished creatures, secret volcanoes, and even whispers of forests that could think. These were not small discoveries. They were the kind that forced people to rewrite everything they thought they knew about Earth's history. It all began with something small, a glint of black glass uncovered in the dusty light of a dig site in Western Canada. At first, it looked like nothing more than a fragment, but by summer, it had grown into one of the most talked about finds of the year. It was obsidian, a volcanic glass born only in the fiery heat of eruptions. Archaeologists found it not just in one spot, but across more than 500 sites, scattered over thousands of kilometers. Tools, blades, jewelry, each piece carrying the jet-black shine of volcanic fire. The strange part was simple. This obsidian wasn't supposed to be here. The known volcanoes in the region had been silent for ages, and science had long said that such glass could only have arrived through trade from distant lands to the south. But chemical tests told a different story. The glass had a signature unlike any obsidian ever studied. It didn't come from abroad. It had been created here by a massive eruption lost to time. Somewhere beneath Canada's eroded hills and forests lay the traces of a super eruption that scattered its fiery remains across the land. The idea was haunting. If such a cataclysm had once hidden in silence, what else might still be buried in the shadows of the Earth? While geologists puzzled over ancient fire, archaeologists on the Pacific coast uncovered something equally stunning. On a windswept shoreline, students brushing away mud and moss stumbled on the remains of a village older than the Egyptian pyramids. Buried beneath peat and stone lay walkways of carefully placed wood, charred hearths, and intricate fishing tools. Tests placed the age of the site at over 5,000 years, showing not just survival, but a thriving, organized community. Evidence pointed to trade, skilled construction, and knowledge of the sea. And the surprises didn't stop there. Sonar scans of nearby tidal flats revealed geometric patterns, post holes, and causeways stretching for hundreds of meters. An entire settlement submerged by rising seas. These discoveries challenged old assumptions. If such advanced societies once existed along Canada's rugged coasts, how many more might still be hidden, waiting beneath forests and waves? As stories of ancient glass and lost villages spread, scientists in the far north stumbled upon mysteries preserved in ice. While drilling a permafrost core, a research crew discovered what looked like tangled plant roots. Yet under the microscope, they saw something extraordinary. It wasn't dead. The tissue, frozen for tens of thousands of years, came back to life under lab conditions. Plants that had last seen sunlight before the last ice age began to grow again, their DNA carrying echoes of a world long vanished. Alongside this, pale-furred animals and strange insects began appearing across the thawing tundra, species unseen in living memory. Some wondered if they were survivors, long hidden in the ice, now awakening as the land warmed. The possibility was unsettling. If ancient life could lie in wait for millennia beneath Canada's frozen soil, what other forms might still be sleeping there, waiting for their chance to return? Far to the south, paleontologists dug into Alberta's fossil-rich deposits and made a find that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. They uncovered massive fossilized teeth and bones belonging to the megalodon, the largest shark that ever lived. What was shocking was not just the size, but the age. These remains suggested that the megalodon had survived in Canadian waters far longer than previously thought, perhaps persisting in hidden northern seas even after disappearing elsewhere. The timeline of extinction was suddenly uncertain. If this titan of the deep had lasted longer than believed, what other ancient monsters might still be locked in Canada's fossil record, waiting for discovery? And then came something even stranger. In 2025, a research team exploring a trench off Canada's west coast with remotely operated vehicles uncovered the fossil of a creature unlike anything seen before. Dating back over 500 million years, it belonged to the Cambrian period, a time when life was experimenting with strange and alien forms. With its bizarre anatomy, this new species reminded scientists that Earth's earliest creatures were far stranger than modern imagination could conjure. The find raised haunting questions. Was this a one-time evolutionary experiment? Or could hidden lineages still lie undiscovered in Canada's rocks? Or even living in unexplored environments deep beneath the waves? Yet the most alarming discovery came from deep within the Earth itself. Geologists following the trail of volcanic glass detected seismic patterns that pointed to something vast. A buried supervolcano beneath Western Canada. Its chamber was so large it rivaled some of the world's greatest volcanic systems. Though silent today, faint heat signatures suggested a violent past. The obsidian scattered across the landscape may have been the last whispers of its ancient fury. If such a massive geological force had remained hidden until now, what did that say about humanity's understanding of Earth? Was Canada still home to geological giants waiting for their chance to awaken? The mysteries were not limited to the west. Along the St. Lawrence River in the east, seismic sensors recorded unusual earthquake swarms. At first, they seemed random, but patterns soon emerged. These quakes followed ancient fault lines, relics of North America's creation. Scientists couldn't explain why the activity had returned, but the swarms hinted that the continent itself was shifting in ways long unseen. It was a reminder that even land thought stable could tremble without warning. Meanwhile, Canada's oceans revealed secrets of their own. Off the coast of British Columbia, researchers mapping the seabed with sonar stumbled upon something that looked like the ruins of an ancient city. Walls, pillars, and alignments lay hidden beneath layers of silt and seawater. Pottery fragments retrieved from the site suggested human habitation over 4,000 years ago. Who these people were and why their city had been lost to the sea, no one knew. Was it swallowed gradually by rising water or destroyed in a single catastrophic event? The site left more questions than answers, hinting at a forgotten chapter of human history drowned beneath the waves. The discoveries kept coming, each one stranger than the last. In fossil beds that had been studied for decades, paleontologists finally completed the analysis of a fossilized marine reptile unearthed years earlier. Officially named in 2025, this predator had ruled Canada's ancient seas with armored sides and long jaws filled with razor-sharp teeth. It painted a vivid picture of ecosystems where massive reptiles hunted alongside dinosaurs. Every bone told a story of survival, adaptation, and extinction. It reminded researchers that Earth's history is not a closed book. It is a story that keeps adding new chapters where apex predators rise, fall, and sometimes leave echoes in the creatures that exist today. Every bone told a story of survival, adaptation, and extinction. It reminded researchers that Earth's history is not a closed book. It is a story that keeps adding new chapters where apex predators rise, fall, and sometimes leave echoes in the creatures that exist today. While ancient beasts were being reconstructed from stone, another mystery was surfacing in Canada's lakes. Hydrologists scanning the deep waters of remote northern lakes such as Ojibway and Great Slave began to detect geometric patterns hidden in the sediments. Probes revealed strange circular formations, undulating paths, and ring-shaped structures. Some of them were thousands of years old, while others appeared newly formed. The debate over their origins was fierce. Some argued they were created by rare natural processes, perhaps strange chemical reactions or unusual ice activity. Others wondered whether they were the remnants of ancient human activity, subtle traces of lost cultures. Whatever the truth, these hidden formations revealed that even Canada's calm lakes still held secrets that defied explanation. One of Canada's oldest natural mysteries also made a return. Along the Mackenzie and St. Lawrence rivers, scientists recorded rare episodes where the flow of water reversed itself, surging upstream instead of downstream. These reversals lasted for days, disrupting fish runs and flooding shorelines. They were not the simple tidal reversals seen in a few rivers around the world. Instead, they seemed to be driven by complicated forces, perhaps sudden glacial melt, strong winds, or even tectonic shifts beneath the land. Whatever the cause, they reminded people that even something as simple as a river's flow could change suddenly, revealing the deep power of natural forces still shaping the land. Further north, satellite images revealed another shocking sight. Scattered deep within Canada's wilderness were more than 20 massive, abandoned structures. Some were circular, others zigzagging, with strange glass-clad skeletons half swallowed by moss and trees. Their origins were murky. Some experts suggested they were leftovers from Cold War projects. Others thought they were failed industrial experiments. Whatever their original purpose, their presence raised chilling questions. Why were so many of them hidden and undocumented? Were they simply forgotten relics, or were some projects kept secret and buried in the wilderness. Each rusted beam hinted at ambition, secrecy, and abandonment, now slowly reclaimed by nature. While satellites were scanning the wilderness, botanists were digging beneath ancient lakes. In deep, untouched sediments, they discovered pollen and plant remains millions of years old. Some were ancestors of today's pines and spruces, while others belonged to lineages long vanished. These ancient plants told stories of how forests had once adapted to dramatic climate shift. Genetic analysis suggested that some of these species carried traits like resistance to extreme cold and drought that could help modern science. If the blueprints of resilience were still buried in sediments, what lessons could they offer a planet facing its own climate challenges today? But perhaps the most puzzling signals came from the deep ocean. Off the coast of British Columbia, scientists detected strange sonar patterns unlike anything they had seen before. Rhythmic pulses, glowing patterns of bioluminescence, and unexplained upwellings of water appeared in the darkness. Sometimes, these signals were followed by massive blooms of marine life or sudden changes in whale migration. No one could explain them fully. Were they natural processes that had gone unnoticed until now, or did they point to something deeper, an undiscovered way in which oceans communicate and shift? The thought was unsettling, that the ocean itself might be signaling changes we were only just beginning to understand. Meanwhile, along Canada's coasts, another kind of fossilization was taking place in real time. Sudden mudslides and forest die-offs were burying young trees and animals in layers of silt and ash, preserving them in ways eerily similar to how fossils were created millions of years ago. Scientists called them the fossils of tomorrow. They were a grim reminder that catastrophic events, whether natural or human-driven, were still reshaping the world today, and that future generations might one day study our own age the way we study the dinosaurs. Yet the discovery that left people most unsettled was not found in rock, ice, or water, but in the forests themselves. Plant ecologists using fine sensors recorded trees sending electrical signals, releasing chemical messages, and even producing faint acoustic vibrations. These signals weren't random. They appeared to be coordinated, allowing trees to respond collectively to changes in their environment. When one was injured, others nearby seemed to react. When drought struck, whole groups adjusted together. It was as if the forest itself carried a kind of intelligence, not of individual thought, but of shared awareness. This changed the way scientists thought about ecosystems. The trees were not silent. They were communicating in ways humans had only just begun to detect. The idea that Canada's vast forests might have their own hidden language stunned the world. If forests could think, what else might nature be doing right under our noses, unseen and unheard? Each discovery, from obsidian in the hills to whispers in the trees, pulled back another layer of mystery from Canada's land and waters. The country, long seen as a wilderness frontier, was being revealed as something much deeper. Ancient societies once thrived in hidden villages. Volcanoes once shook the ground with unimaginable force. Seas once carried monsters bigger than anything alive today. Ice preserved living time capsules. And forests revealed themselves not just as collections of trees, but as communities bound together in silent conversation. The deeper scientists looked, the more it seemed that Canada was not just a land of the present, but a vast archive of Earth's oldest, strangest, and most astonishing secrets. By the time all these discoveries were pieced together, one thing was clear. Canada had become one of the most mysterious landscapes on Earth. Each find stood on its own as a marvel, but together they painted a picture far larger than anyone expected. Canada was not just a country of forests, rivers, and mountains. It was a land built on secrets. Secrets that spanned tens of thousands, even millions of years, and only now were beginning to rise into the light. The obsidian glass scattered across Western Canada hinted at a super eruption so powerful it scarred the land in ways that scientists were only now starting to detect. For years, geologists thought the region's volcanoes had gone silent forever. Now, evidence suggested they had once erupted with a force to rival the world's most dangerous supervolcanoes. If that had happened once, could it happen again? Was Canada's calm surface hiding a future eruption that could shake not just the nation, but the world? The ancient villages along the Pacific coast forced historians to reconsider human history in North America. For too long, the story had been simplified. Small bands of people moving through rugged terrain. But the villages told a different tale. People had thrived here in organized communities long before the pyramids rose in Egypt. They had built walkways, fishing structures, and even causeways stretching across tidal flats. When the sea rose, their homes were swallowed, but their ingenuity lived on in the artifacts they left behind. What if even more such villages were hidden under layers of peat, stone, and sea? What would they reveal about the ancestors of today's indigenous peoples and about humanity's ability to adapt to changing worlds? Then there was the permafrost. For decades, it had been seen as nothing more than frozen ground, a hazard when it melted, but not much more. Yet, when ancient plants were revived after tens of thousands of years, it was as if the ice itself had become a time capsule. Each thaw carried the possibility of bringing life back from ages long past. Some scientists even wondered if microbes or other forms of ancient life might emerge as the ice retreated. Could something that vanished with the ice age suddenly return, reshaping the ecosystems of today? The thought was both thrilling and terrifying. And in the seas, the discoveries shook belief even further. Megalodon fossils hinted that the ocean's greatest predator may have survived longer in Canada's waters than anywhere else. The idea that such a creature once prowled northern coasts long after it was thought extinct stirred both fascination and unease. The new Cambrian creature uncovered from the trench took that unease further. Its bizarre form was unlike anything alive today. It was proof that life's earliest experiments were wild and alien, far beyond what humans had imagined. If one such fossil had been found, how many more were waiting to be uncovered, not just in Canada, but across the globe? Even in modern times, the land itself showed its restlessness. Earthquake swarms along the St. Lawrence reminded people that the continent was still shifting. Rivers reversing their flow showed how fragile the balance of water and climate could be. Abandoned structures hidden in the north revealed that even human ambition left behind mysteries, half-forgotten projects swallowed by wilderness. Each discovery was a reminder that nothing about this land was as permanent as it seemed. The lakes, with their geometric patterns, kept people guessing. Were they marks of unknown natural processes or signs of forgotten human activity? The sonar signals from the ocean added another layer of puzzle. Rhythmic pulses, glowing displays, and unexplained movements of water seemed almost like messages. Some scientists dared to ask, was the ocean itself, in its own way, speaking? But the most haunting discovery was perhaps the quietest: the forests. For generations, people walked through them, thinking of them as silent and still. Yet sensors revealed something else. The trees were not silent at all. They sent signals to each other: electrical pulses, chemical scents, even faint sounds. They responded to one another's stress, to drought, to injury. They adapted as a community. It was not thought or consciousness as humans knew it, but it was communication, and it gave the forests a kind of voice. To many, this was the most profound revelation of all. The very air of Canada's wilderness was alive with whispers, messages passing unseen between millions of trees, a hidden language of survival and connection. By the end of 2025, scientists admitted something humbling. The more they uncovered, the less they felt they truly knew. Canada was no longer just a backdrop of nature. It was an archive of Earth's deepest history, a stage for life's strangest experiments, and a living system with its own intelligence. It was a place where monsters of the sea once hunted, where ancient people built thriving communities, where ice kept life waiting for millennia, and where forests whispered secrets to each other in silence.